Welcome to Lecture 16. In the final 2 lectures of this module, we will be learning about warehouse layout and design. In this lecture, we will first look at some of the considerations for good warehouse layout. Then we will examine the warehouse interior layout, followed by the warehouse exterior layout. Any warehouse, whether owned or leased, costs a significant amount of money to operate. As such, it is important to fully optimize the usage by asking the following questions. What do you need in this warehouse? Where should each object be located inside and outside the warehouse? Why do you need each object and why should it be placed at a particular spot? For a warehouse containing thousands of SKUs, each decision could have a critical effect on the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the business in fulfilling customer service expectations. A good warehouse design seeks to first and foremost provide good employee working conditions. Only with an environment conducive to the work will the employees be able to work in a productive manner. With this, product flow is improved and operating costs are reduced. Overall, the most important objective is of course to improve service to the end customer. The optimal warehouse layout and design will vary depending on, firstly, the product profile. Do the products have special requirements, temperature control, protect from light, protect from dust? Secondly, the order profile. What is the product flow like? Do customers order in pallets or in pieces? How quickly do they need their orders delivered? How often do they place orders? Are the customers locally based or overseas? And finally, cost. What is the company's budget? What types of storage systems and MHEs are affordable for this company? Different choices of storage systems and MHEs often come with corresponding trade-offs. For example, a conventional reach truck requires aisle space of up to 3.4 meters. The very narrow aisle or VNA truck requires only as little as 1.2 meters. Clearly, using a VNA will allow greater space optimization. However, the VNA operates at relatively high speeds using a ground-based laser or rail-guided system, and it doesn't come cheap. In this example, a conveyor system automates the handling of large load volumes and reduces labor, resource, and cost. It reduces manual load movement, improving worker safety. However, it requires a fixed warehouse configuration and a high upfront investment. On the other hand, a manual system using just pallet jacks has little upfront investment and results in high recurring labor costs, lower productivity, and carries with it greater safety risk. One of the often neglected aspects of warehouse layout design is the warehouse office. Each warehouse needs to be run by a team of logistics professionals, and adequate space and office equipment must be provided for them too. So what are the requirements for a warehouse office? Firstly, there must be working space. This includes individual workstations as well as meeting rooms. There will usually be a variety of office equipment such as computers, printers, copiers, servers, routers, fax machines, telephones, etc. And these take up a lot of space. A typical office also generates a lot of paperwork which has to be filed and archived to meet business and regulatory requirements. Along with the office stationery supplies, this means a lot of storage cupboards. The warehouse will not be complete without staff amenities. Besides the standard toilets, many warehouses also provide lockers and changing rooms because most warehouse staff are not allowed to bring personal belongings into their work area, and they also have to wear uniforms and special gear. The company also usually sets aside a rest area for staff to have breaks and meals, and even a pantry containing equipment such as microwave ovens and refrigerators for usage by their staff. If you recall from your earlier lectures, the first step in the warehouse inbound process is receiving. When a transporter arrives at the warehouse, goods must be unloaded and placed at the inbound staging area. There are 3 levels of receiving checks. Identity, is this a correct product? Quantity, does the number of units tally the shipping documentation? And quality, is the product in good condition? In order for warehouse workers to carry out the receiving checks properly, there must be ample space provided for the staging of inbound products and well-lit workstations for the necessary quality checks. Once the inbound team has completed the receiving checks, goods can be transferred to a designated storage area. Within the warehouse, storage can be randomized or dedicated. For randomized storage, items are placed in the closest available location, which may be a slot, bin, or pallet rack. This maximizes space utilization, although it may subsequently require longer travel times between order picking locations. Randomized locations are usually selected through computerized systems such as in the ASRS. Products are retrieved according to algorithms such as FIFO, FIFO, or frequency of peak. In dedicated storage, products are stored in permanent locations within a warehouse. Various methods can be used to implement the dedicated storage approach by customer, part number, by product types, or by activity levels. For storage by customer, products for each customer are stored in segregated areas. This may be in particular rackings, shelvings, or entire demarcated zones within the warehouse. For dedicated storage by part number sequence, products are stored according to alphanumerical order. This is quite common for the semiconductors industry and the spare part logistics industry. Dedicated storage can also be by product type. When taking this approach, one first considers compatibility of different food products. Some products cannot be stored together. Example, pharmaceuticals or food products for human consumption should not be stored together with dangerous chemicals for fear of contamination. Some products are ideally always stored together. Example, a furniture warehouse would be wise to store dining tables and chairs at adjacent locations, as most customers who buy dining tables would also buy chairs. This approach will increase the order picking efficiency in the warehouse. Lastly, dedicated storage can be by activity levels. When taking this approach, one first considers the popularity of product, which is to say how often is ordered by customers and therefore picked in the warehouse. In horizontal segregation, the most popular products are located nearer to the front of the warehouse so that they will be more accessible for picking. The less popular products will be located further to the back of the warehouse since they will not be picked as often. In vertical segregation, the most popular products are located at the lower tiers of any storage system, again to facilitate more efficient order picking. In both types of segregation, the arrangement may be changed on a regular basis depending on customer demand. When designing storage space, it is important to set aside sufficient out space or empty space between rows of racking and shelving for MHE and people to pass through safely when goods are being moved to and from storage areas, to the packing areas, to the staging areas. In many warehouses, especially those dealing with fast-moving consumer goods, inbound shipments are in bulk. A portion of the shipment is put away at an area designated as the pick phase. This is where goods are picked for order fulfillment. The rest of the shipment is put away to a bulk storage area. When goods at the pick phase are depleted, the warehouse workers carry out replenishment by transferring goods from the bulk storage area to the pick phase. To ensure that the pick phase always has sufficient goods for picking, replenishment is an activity that has to be planned for and has to take place regularly. Towards the end of a product's life cycle, there might be only small quantities left and customer demand is reduced. At this point, the product is moved away from the pick phase to a loose storage location, such as a shelving location further away from the pick phase. Once an order has been picked, it needs to be conveyed to a packing station to be prepared for shipment. The packing workstation can be configured in different ways to suit various product and order requirements. At the packing workstation, there will be supplies of packaging materials such as carton boxes and fillers such as bubble wrap, brown paper, or foam peanuts. Packages need to be secured using either just clear tape and masking tape or even tamper-proof security tape. Each completed order is always accompanied by documentation such as packing lists, commercial invoices, delivery orders, and various other shipping documents. After completing the packing, the order is finally ready to be sent to the outbound staging area to await pickup by the transport carrier. If it is a local distribution center or LDC like in Singapore, the outbound staging area could be arranged according to zones: central, north, south, east, and west. If it is a regional distribution center or RDC, there will be overseas shipments too. So these can be staged according to destination country or separated by FCL shipments and LCL shipments. Goods are sometimes returned to the warehouse for various reasons, such as defects or wrongly delivered or processed orders. The management returns is also known as reverse logistics, RMA or RGA. The process is similar to the inbound process, except that it requires a thorough 100% check before the goods either put back to storage locations for sale or put aside for disposal. Every warehouse typically has a quarantine area. The different types of goods held in this area may include goods pending inspection. These are goods either new inbound or returns which have failed initial quality inspections. They might require further inspection to determine if they can be sold at discounted prices or perhaps reworked to make them saleable. Then there are the actual goods pending rework, quality reject items which need to be repackaged or repaired to make them saleable. And then goods pending disposal are actually damaged or expired goods that are in the process of being consolidated for future disposal. The quarantine area is always a segregated and clearly marked out area. In some cases, it is caged up and locked. The objective of such an area is to prevent goods of suspect quality from being mixed up with saleable goods and accidentally shipped out to customers. Many additional services may be performed in the warehouse. These are known as the value-added services or VAS. Some examples include labeling, kitting, promotional bundling, and repackaging. Power-assisted MHE, such as reach trucks, need to be charged regularly for use. They are most commonly left to charge overnight at the end of each day's use. Even manual MHE, such as pallet jacks, are requiring designated parking areas to improve the orderliness of the warehouse and to make it easier for workers to locate their equipment when they need them. In every warehouse, there could be a range of tools such as cutters, pliers, and ropes. There will definitely be various packaging materials such as cartons, shrink wrap, bubble wrap, or brown paper, and these need to be stored in a clearly designated area with adequate capacity so workers can easily access them when required. In addition to the internal space layout, it is also important to design a warehouse external layout well. One of the key aspects is the entrances and exits. There needs to be entrances for cargo traffic, usually in the form of roller shutter doors which open out into the loading bay. The size of these doors and the number required depend on the type and volume of cargo and the type of MHE used. There also needs to be entrances for human traffic. These are normal doors but may be fitted with access control devices for tapping of staff access cards or biometric inputs. The number of such doors depend on the number of people working on the site and the security levels necessary. Overall, the position of doors for human traffic relative to the cargo traffic must take into consideration safety concerns to minimize the risk of workers getting into the way of MHE. To facilitate inbound and outbound activities, there must be adequate number of loading bays for vehicles from various transportation carriers. The number of loading bays and the type of loading bays required will depend on the type of vehicles expected to be in use at the facility. In some cases, dock levelers provide flexible access for vehicles of different heights parked at the loading bay. In other cases, access ramps provide access to the dock. This is usually for vehicles which are either too small or too large to dock at the loading bay and need to do manual loading or unloading away from the loading bay. Another often overlooked factor in warehouse design is the provision of a suitably sized yard or parking space for delivery vehicles and container chassis which are not in use, as well as containers mounted on a chassis pending stuffing or unstuffing. A total warehouse layout is made out of both the internal and the external layouts. The objective is the optimization of flow of cargo. A good layout minimizes the traveling time of cargo around the warehouse. It reduces the risk of cargo damage, improves order fulfillment speed, and improves customer service levels. So what makes up an optimized flow of cargo? Let's take a look at this example. In this case, the inbound docks and outbound docks are at opposite ends of the warehouse. New shipments are received and staged in the inbound staging area, while return goods are processed at the returns management area. The storage area forms the single largest area in the middle of the warehouse. Once orders are received, they may be moved to the value-added services area or directly to the packing area. Thereafter, goods are staged at outbound staging, pending pickup by transport carriers. Overall, the movement is perfectly streamlined and efficient. So what makes up a disruptive flow of cargo? Let's take a look at this example. In this case, the inbound docks and outbound docks are also at opposite ends of the warehouse. New shipments are easily received and staged at the inbound staging area before being moved into storage. But return goods need to be moved across the warehouse to be processed at the returns management area before being moved into storage. Once goods are picked from the storage area, they may be moved to the value-added services area near the inbound dock or directly to the adjacent packing area. The outbound staging area stretches halfway across the middle of the warehouse. Overall, the movement of cargo is in a disruptive flow in this layout. This serves to highlight the importance of creating a good total warehouse layout which optimizes the flow of cargo in and out of the warehouse. With that, we have come to the end of Lecture 16.